Welcome to the Accessibility Services module on acquired brain injuries. Acquired brain injuries, or an ABI, result from damage to the brain incurred through traumatic events or non-traumatic events after birth. Examples of traumatic events include sports-related injuries and motor vehicle accidents. Non-traumatic events may be the result of illness, oxygen deprivation, or stroke. Individuals with an ABI may experience a variety of challenges related to their physical well-being, cognitive and communication skills, and emotional, behavioral, and social functions. Each person's lived experience with an acquired brain injuries and the impact on their academic well-being and personal wellness will be unique. Flexibility and open-mindedness is key. Learning about acquired brain injuries and enhancing your skill set to manage your academics more effectively may be new and overwhelming. Keep it simple and begin by following the 10 tips for success. Tip number 1. Participate in at least one activity each day that encourages movement and mindfulness. Tip number 2. Manage eye strain and screen fatigue by practicing the 20-20-20 rule. Tip number 3. Check in daily to assess your physical and mental well-being. Tip number 4. Keep track of your focus, fatigue, and productivity to manage symptoms with effect. Tip number 5. Review lectures in advance of class and use a pre-made template or exemplar. Tip number 6. Create a summary of lectures, readings, and written assignments to increase focus and recall. Tip number 7. Answer challenging questions on assignments by working through each question on a whiteboard. Tip number 8. Support clarity and flow of thoughts and ideas by dictating information and using mind maps. Tip number 9. Practice spaced repetition by creating cue cards either by hand or digitally. Tip number 10. Engage in wellness breaks and allot time to review your work by breaking tests down into timed sections. Tip number 1. Take care of your physical and mental wellness by participating in at least one activity each day that includes movement and mindfulness. For example, you may want to go for a bike ride, write out your thoughts, or spend time with friends. Tip number 2. While working on a computer or using an electronic device, be sure to practice the 20-20-20 rule to manage eye strain and screen fatigue. Take 20-second break every 20 minutes to focus your eyes on something 20 feet away. Tip number 3. When you wake up, check in with your well-being before determining your goals and tasks for the day and time allotted for each goal and task. Tip number 4. Keep track of your focus, fatigue, and productivity, and be mindful of how long you can engage in a task relative to the threshold before onset or worsening of symptoms. Tip number 5. Before class, review your lecture and consider creating a pre-made note-taking template for use in class. If you are not sure how to take notes, practice note-taking with old course materials. Tip number 6. To support memory and recall, create a summary of lectures, readings, and written assignments. Summaries should be short, concise, and synthesized in your own words. Tip number 7. Answer challenging questions on assignments on a whiteboard. Step back, reassess, and verbalize out loud the next best step to answer the question. Tip number 8. Consider dictating and mind mapping, brainstorming, and research sessions to support the expression of your thoughts and ideas with a greater sense of flow and organization. Tip number 9. Use cue cards to engage in spaced repetition while you study. Cue cards can be in a hard copy or digital format. Make sure to prioritize information that requires more review and limit the number of cue cards to support pairing of information. Tip number 10. You may find it helpful to break tests down into timed sections to allow for regular wellness breaks, as well as time to review and slow the rate of work and processing of information. The goal is to reduce the frequency of errors and promote academic success. Remember, keep it simple and use the 10 tips for success to enhance your skill set and develop a learning plan that is right for you. For more information on how to access services and supports through accessibility services, including information on learning strategies and troubleshooting in the online environment, please register for the Accessibility Services Learn course and subscribe to the Accessibility Services YouTube channel.